The president wasting no time on his way to the big game, announcing new tariffs coming. Watch.
We'll also be announcing steel tariffs on Monday. Any steel coming into the United States is going to have a 25% tariff.
What about aluminum, sir?
Aluminum, too.
10%?
No, 25%.
25 for aluminum as well?
25 for both. I'll be announcing probably Tuesday or Wednesday at a news conference reciprocal tariffs, and very simply, it's if they charge us, we charge them. That's all.
When does it go into effect, sir?
Almost immediately, but I'll be announcing the details of it, highly detailed, and it'll be great for everybody, including the other countries. But if they are charging us 130% and we're charging them nothing, it's not going to stay that way.
This is on every country?
Every country will be reciprocal. That's right.
I heard it all first on Sunday Morning Futures. White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller joined me on Sunday Morning Futures yesterday, and we discussed the details of a potential reciprocal tariff with a VAT tax added to it. Watch this. I was told by a source that President Trump is going to announce reciprocal tariffs against Europe, but it's going to be more than just reciprocal. He's also going to add on more to the tariff to cover the VAT tax, which Europe charges us, a VAT tax. So can you tell us what we are expecting next week?
The president's making clear that we are going to pursue a policy of reciprocity. In other words, if we're getting charged 30% by Europe, then we need to charge them 30% in return. If they want to be charged less than 30%, they're going to have to lower their barriers so that it's fair and equal and, yes, reciprocal treatment. Here's another area where Europe is engaging in predatory practices. Tech companies are subject to digital taxes, censorship, and onerous financial penalties that are tens of billions of dollars every single year. Obviously, that has to go into the reciprocal treatment as well. You cannot have a situation where our country, our auto companies, our tech companies are just a piggy bank for Europe.
Yes, this all comes as China's retaliatory tariffs are taking effect. They took effect yesterday on $14 billion worth of U.S. goods. Trump telling Fox News' Bret Baier last night how tariffs will impact American citizens. Watch.
You said the tariff is a beautiful word. There are some signs in the markets, consumer confidence, that they're a little jittery. So if all goes to plan, when do you think families will be able to feel prices going down, groceries, energy, or are you kind of saying to them, hang on, inflation may get worse until it gets better?
No, I think we're going to become a rich. Look, we're not that rich right now. We owe $36 trillion. That's because we let all these nations take advantage of us. Same thing, like $200 billion with Canada. We owe 300. We have a deficit with Mexico of $350 billion. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let that happen.
So we've got more tariffs to come. Cheryl, Todd, let's get into it. On the one hand, President Trump was very clear about steel and aluminum tariffs. They will face 25%. But this week, Cheryl, what we haven't heard yet, which we will get the details about, are the tariffs that will go into effect against Europe. And that's what I was hearing over the weekend and what I'm expecting President Trump to announce tomorrow. And you know that VAT tax that we all pay when we're in Europe, when we're coming back, we got the VAT tax to face. President Trump is going to equal it out. He's going to put a reciprocal tariff on Europe, and then he's going to add on to it that VAT tax, Cheryl.
Yeah, and that reciprocal tariff, and we're expecting to get the details of that, to your point, Maria, either tomorrow or Wednesday. Today is that announcement on the 25% steel aluminum tariffs across the country. But what's so interesting about the reciprocal tariff is, you know, Senator Bernie Moreno, and he, of course, the Ohio senator, is an ally of President Trump. And he goes, look, think of this in two buckets. And Todd and I talked about this on his show this morning. It's either punitive tariffs, and that is to secure the border, or you've got, and that's where you talk about China, or you've got structural long-term tariffs. And that's what President Trump was saying to Bret Baier, that we have been taking advantage for too long. The other thing I will say, though, a quick point on China, there are reports that what they're doing now is they're readying antitrust investigations against U.S. technology companies. That's going to be their way to start to strike back. We haven't heard yet from Canada, in particular, on these steel and aluminum tariffs or the Europeans, but it's a new day this morning, Maria.
Yeah, I mean, I think this Europe tax is going to be interesting, Todd. It's going to basically equate what Europe has been doing to the United States. So, look, I would expect markets to get nervous about it. But when all is said and done, when you look at what they're charging the United States and what the U.S. charges them, it's not reciprocal right now. It's going to be.
And it's all part of an overall approach that Trump has had since day one. And when I say day one, I mean 2015 day one. And he even said that prior. Why does America always have to do the opposite of what everybody else does when everybody else tries to take advantage of us? In other words, why do we have to be the world's piggy bank? Why do we have to fund everything in the world? And then when push comes to shove, when it comes to tariffs and stuff like this, why do other countries get to charge our people and yet it's not reciprocal in return? It's part of an overall approach to just say everything's going to be even, everything's going to be fair, and we should all appreciate that, and there shouldn't be pushback. Yes, some things could cost more, but at the end of the day, shouldn't we be treating other countries the exact way they treat us? Yeah. Finally?
Todd, I want to mention this story in the Financial Times this morning. Interesting as we look toward President Trump's confirmation picks and the hearings on his cabinet. Trump's choice to lead the FBI, Kash Patel, is under fire now because of investments that he may have had, his ties to this Elite Depot group. This Elite Depot owns Chinese clothes company shares Shein. Now, Patel worked as a consultant for Elite Depot for 8 months, stating in a financial disclosure form that he held between $1 and $5 million worth of Elite Depot shares. And this company, Elite Depot, is a Cayman Islands group, according to UK Business Records, which owns shares of Shein. Shein, of course, is a Chinese retailer, and human rights groups and U.S. lawmakers, including Marco Rubio, have accused Shein of using forced labor in its operations in China. So, Todd, this is the latest pushback from these Democrat senators who do not want Trump to get his cabinet in place anytime soon.
Yeah, and obviously it is their attempt at obstruction. Look, I don't love the fact that Kash Patel has this relationship. I'm just going to come right out and say it. But at the end of the day, everything else in his record, everything else in his resume up till this point has indicated that he is going to get rid of the corruption that is in the FBI and make it a body that protects American citizens. I think there needs to be a decoupling. We've talked about this on your show for the better part of 4 years. But until that is a bigger decoupling from everybody in the nation, you can't beat up Kash Patel for trying to get paid at one point in his life, especially if going forward, he makes sure to be tough on China.
All right. It looks like It looks like J.D. Vance and Michael Waltz are now running the TikTok situation. They put President Trump put them in charge of a potential TikTok sale and a divestiture. We'll talk about that coming up.